Welcome to the channel. This is where we work with the subtle energies of intuition to help us all move towards improved well-being. And if you're into mindfulness, meditation, dowsing, all that sort of thing, the idea of co-creating your reality, then click on the grey bell icon to get notified every time we do a video upload, and of course, click to subscribe.
We've talked about earth elementals, gnomes, dwarves, fairies, elves. The air elementals are sprites and sylphs. Personally, I love sprites and sylphs. I absolutely love them. Sometimes you can walk out of the house, and if you look up into the sky, you see the weather patterns changing. You see the clouds, but you also can be hit by quite a strong impression of consciousness, sentience, something up there. And I remember the first time it happened to me, it was really quite shocking. The amount of the only way I can put it is observational power. It was like stepping into the sunshine and being aware that there was a presence, just watching. And there was this beautiful, beautiful sky at that time with some very light clouds, but it just had such a presence. There are aspects of nature that are there in the spirit realm, and they're quite, they are open to conversation. Don't be scared of them. Just like all of this stuff, just be, a little bit cautious. Take your time. Don't be rude. Don't be arrogant to any of them. It's always best to be humble. This aspect of the natural world can be like a guardian aspect as well, like almost like part of your guardian angel, and that's in the sense that there's another aspect of our reality that will look after us. And I'll tell you why. Another little story. I was out for a walk, and we were out in the wilds, and we got caught in a rainstorm, really bad rainstorm, really, really shitty. The weather just really closed in really quickly. We weren't prepared for it. And the wind was howling across, and it was pouring with rain. And we weren't too far from shelter, but we were a little bit like, oh, how long is this going to take us? And we were cutting through a quarry. And as we were cutting through this quarry, and I was beginning to get quite low, like feeling like, oh, this is really horrible. I wanted to do something that was just going to be a little bit silly. I started just to kind of jog through this quarry, and the wind really got up, and as I was jogging, I realized that I could hear on the wind that there was a voice in the wind, and it was saying, take care, beware, take care, beware, beware, take care. And I'm thinking, what's that? What? That's really weird. It was a bit freaky. And as I heard, this went on for probably 20 seconds, 30 seconds, and I saw a rock in front of me, and I thought, oh, I'll just jump on that rock and go over there. And as I jumped on the rock, I lost my footing. I slipped. It was just an ice. It was like ice sheet because it was so wet. I slipped, and the voices stopped. And fortunately, I just kind of got my balance again and ran on and sort of hopped off this rock, but realized that if I hadn't kind of taken that side step, I would have plummeted 30 feet. So I would have been seriously hurt. Now, the voices were saying, beware, and it kind of sunk in, but it didn't sink in. So if I'd really thought, oh yeah, they're telling me to be careful, I would have stopped jogging and I wouldn't have stood on that rock. But, that was the voice in the wind. And quite frankly, it virtually saved my life. I mean, anything could have happened. It was a big old drop. So they are amazingly caring. But do you know what? They do go into people's houses and they do get stuck. A lot of the earth elementals, a lot of the gnomes and dwarves, they like to follow people home, especially farmers, we find. We can find elementals that are detrimental, right? Now, this does not mean that they're dangerous. It just means that the energy of the elemental isn't sitting very happily with the person that's in the house. So that's why it's a detrimental aspect. It's going to be a little bit wearing on the energy of the person. So we just basically ask for them to leave. We show them how to leave. We ask the angels to actually help them out, and we pop them outside again, part of the clearing. I did do a clearing for a lady who had an elemental sitting at the top of her stairs. She didn't know what it was. That's what it turned out to be. And as soon as I'd asked upstairs to move it along, she said, well, I don't know what you've done, but it's fine up there now. So, you know, that's great. So you can get these elementals on your side. You can find some of them are a bit mischievous. And that's the other thing just to watch out for with elementals is that, you know, when I was saying earlier on, you can go out and sort of befriend one, bring it, you know, part of your team. Just make sure that you've got one on side. How do you do that? Well, not only do you just, you know, check with your heart, but also for those of us that aren't sensitive enough to kind of communicate with them and see them and all of this sort of stuff, douse for it. Use your dowsing to communicate with them. You can quite often find, as you douse through a house, that we might find, and I found this in the past, that the little fire elemental is playing silly buggers with the heating system. Water systems, you know, water works in a house can be affected by water elementals. All of these aspects, they're all aspects of the basic elements of life. When you're doing little DIY jobs around the house, you know, putting up shelves or decorating a house or something, decorating a room or something like that, you can actually just ask for any elementals that might be, you know, nearby or that might live in the house with you quite peaceably, to help. And I learned a little while ago that actually every job around the house goes so much better if you actually ask for the help of the elementals present. Don't forget that nature is, you know, a part of you, right? So we can do all of this interaction and all of this experience of interacting with nature spirits and elementals. We can look at it from a point of view that we are the separate human being and it is all out there. But equally, you know, if we remember that we look at this sometimes, all of this stuff on a sliding scale, from basic, separate, isolated human being to the spiritual being, to our soul energy being the observer over here, right? So we are just an access point for the universe to be experiencing in this conscious state. If you look at it from that point of view, that we're just a completely spiritual being, then all of this stuff is a part of us and we're a part of it. And so in that basis, it gives us such a learning opportunity, an opportunity to experience and to analyze with the logical mind what is occurring and how things are changing. You will find a lot of these sort of guardian aspects as you go through places. You know, as you enter a wood, for example, you will find that on the outskirts of that wood, of that copse, if it were a small wood, then you'll find sort of guardian energies there. As you go into any different defined space, you'll find a guardian aspect there. And of course, when we moved into the house some years ago, 20 years ago or so, and met the ghost in that house, she wasn't like a typical ghost, you know, but let's use that as a term. She was that guardian energy spirit of the space, looking after the earth energy lines, making them flow and enabling the consciousness that is on the other side of the veil that we're so rarely aware of to flow and to move through that space. It's what a lot of the guardian energies are. If they announce themselves as the guardian of a wood or of a forest or of a copse, it's not necessarily guardian in that sense of, you know, I'm here to stop you coming in. It's about working with the subtle realms of which they're a part more than working with the solid physical form. What I would suggest, if you want to start to interact with elementals, is that basically you sit in meditation, one of your regular meditation slots, and you basically ask the management if it would be appropriate for you to have some positive elemental activity in your life, and ask for them to show it to you in the best possible way. Always ask for the best possible, and always ask for it to be for the greatest good and in alignment with divine will, right? But yeah, sit in meditation and ask for that, right? Dowsing is the safest possible way of interacting with this sort of subtle energy. But if you're at all worried about it, I would say don't do it, right? If you're at all worried about it, don't do it.